Closure skepticism, questioning the boundaries of knowledge. In contemporary epistemology, the closure principle plays a central role in debates about the nature of knowledge and skepticism. The principle asserts that if a person is justified in believing one proposition and that proposition entails another, then the person is also justified in believing the second proposition. While this seems straightforward, applying the closure principle has led to significant challenges and skepticism, particularly regarding our ability to know certain propositions and their implications. The closure principle can be summarized as follows. If an individual, S, is justified in believing a proposition, H, and H entails another proposition, Q, then S is also justified in believing Q. This is typically represented in a logical form. 1. If I am justified in believing H, then I am justified in believing that not SH, where SH represents a skeptical hypothesis, such as I am a brain in a vat. 2. I am not justified in believing not SH. 3. Therefore, I am not justified in believing H. This principle suggests that knowledge and justification are closed under logical entailment, meaning that if you know one thing, you should also know the logical consequences of that thing. However, the application of this principle in real-world scenarios leads to significant philosophical challenges. One of the major challenges to the closure principle comes from the difference between logical truths and justified beliefs. While logical truths generally adhere to the closure principle, the same cannot be said for justified beliefs, which are often more complex and nuanced. A person may be justified in believing a proposition, but may not be justified in believing all the propositions that logically follow from it. This distinction between doxastic justification, beliefs one currently holds, and propositional justification, beliefs one is justified in holding, adds complexity to the application of the closure principle. A key counterexample to the closure principle is provided by philosopher Fred Dretske. He presents a scenario where someone sees zebras at a zoo and tells their child that they are indeed zebras. While the evidence seems sufficient to justify the belief that these are zebras, Dretske challenges whether the person is justified in believing that these are not cleverly disguised mules. The evidence supporting the belief in zebras does not necessarily justify the belief that these are not mules in disguise, illustrating a flaw in the closure principle when applied to justified belief. This counterexample highlights a crucial issue. The evidence that justifies one belief may not be sufficient to justify all the entailments of that belief. The closure principle suggests that if you are justified in believing one thing, you should also be justified in believing its logical consequences. However, as Dretske's example shows, this is not always the case. The challenges to the closure principle lead to broader implications for skepticism. If we cannot be justified in believing the entailments of our justified beliefs, then we may find ourselves in a state of perpetual doubt. This kind of radical skepticism suggests that we cannot be sure of even our most basic beliefs because the logical consequences of these beliefs may not be justified. For instance, if you cannot know that you are not being deceived by an elaborate simulation or an evil genius, then you cannot know anything that depends on this assumption, such as the existence of the external world. Additionally, epistemological theories like Robert Nozick's tracking theory of knowledge further challenge the closure principle. Nozick's theory suggests that for a belief to count as knowledge, it must track the truth across different possible scenarios. Under this view, even if a person believes a proposition that is true, if their belief does not reliably track the truth in all relevant scenarios, they do not truly know the proposition. This introduces further complications for the closure principle, as it implies that knowledge may not be as easily transferable as the principle suggests. The closure principle, while a foundational concept in epistemology, faces significant challenges when applied to justified beliefs.